Welcome to the presentation of managing co-branding strategies, global brands into local markets. So to start with, what is co-branding? Co-branding is a long or short-term association, a combination of two or more individual brands, products, or other distinctive proprietary assets to form a separate and unique product. So, why do we use co-branding according to the article? The advantages of co-branding are double-sided. For global brands with little or no equity in local market, it gives them the opportunity to gain product success in that local market. For the local brands with strong brand equity, it secures their future through foreign investment, innovation, and technology. Furthermore, co-branding then secures a successful brand transition where the complementary features of both the involved brand are capitalized on. Now, when we know why to do it, how do we then do it successfully? For describing this, the article focuses on the global brand transition into local markets based on Danone and McCain brand entry in South African local market. Through the case studies of Danone plus Clover co-brand and McCain plus IJ co-brand, they propose brand transition model by using co-branding. The first step is to understand consumer brand perceptions. In the case of McCain and Danone, they both did this well by conducting studies of local brand perception. Then you need to consider how the co-branding product fits both of the involved brands. Clover and Danone, as two dairy product brands, were a perfect fit, which gave fertile soil for successful co-branding. Next step is to leverage the company strength of both brands. Co-branding has to have dual winners. In the case of McCain and IJ, the global brand McCain only leveraged on the local brand strength of IJ, and not the other way around, which led to unsuccessful co-branding. You then have to consider the packaging of the co-brand. Which brand should it resemble the most, and which brand logo should be highlighted the most. Last but not least, you have to consider the timing of the transition. When and for how long should you use the co-branding strategy? Danone succeeded with a long-term association still running after 2 years, whereas McCain only managed to secure a 3-month co-branding period, which led to consumer confusion and little gained brand equity for the McCain brand. This concludes the final model with the steps for a successful brand transition process using co-branding. Following this model will give you the advantages of successful brand transition with increased perceived brand value and enhanced consumer brand perception, plus an effective brand recognition and acceptance tool for lesser known brands. So, how does this article position itself in relation to the course? Firstly, it gives us a review of co-branding and its relationship to consumer choice behavior. It also points out the difficulties of entering local markets for global brands. Then it proposes a set of guidelines for brand managers for the use of co-branding strategy in brand transition through an illustrative and practical approach by using 2 case studies. In relation to the other articles in the research field, we would first relate it to the 2 + 2 = 5, a framework for using co-branding to leverage a brand text that concentrate mainly on the essentials of the co-branding process in general, whereto this Abrad and Modlana text puts the co-branding process into global to local context, pointing out specific difficulties. Also, we will relate to the global strategy of local brand text, which explain the use of a global brand while localizing certain elements of the brand to suit a particular market through the process they call globalization. Co-branding global and local brands could possibly give the globalization effect too. So, what are the points we would criticize about this article? Well, firstly, there is a problem with the base of the article. The case studies, keep in mind there are only 2, are both based in the food industry. How does the brand transition model work in other industries? The study base is also set in a very specific market condition, the South African post-apartheid local market, where local brands were really strong and global brands mostly unknown. In the majority of local markets today, most global brands already have some brand equity. And how does the co-branding then work? The article is also very positive towards co-branding, and it seems to lack the risk and possible disadvantages of co-branding, seen from both the local and global brands' viewpoint. The criticism apart, it does however illustrate important steps and guidelines for global brands entering local markets with good case studies to support them.
Created using Powtoon.